This episode of Ladder Legacy is proudly sponsored by the Bedford Group Insurance, helping families and businesses protect what matters most. Whether it's coverage for your home, your family, your team, or your future, Bedford's got your back with the best reliable insurance solutions in Florida. Visit our website to learn more, bedfordinsurance.com. And now on to your episode.
Hey everybody, this is Rudy Romero from Ladder to Legacy, and I'm here today to welcome a very special guest. I'm privileged to sit down with Kelly Powell, the CEO of Community Partners of South Florida. Kelly has spent more than 2 decades serving children, families, and communities with career rooted in education, child safety, injury prevention, and community impact. Kelly, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm really excited to have you on here and to discuss some topics. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rudy. I'm very excited to have an opportunity to sit and talk with you today.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you're touching on so many wonderful things. And, we had a few minutes to chat before we got on today. And, your career has been centered around, service focus for more than 2 decades. First, what drew you to working with children and families? Because I think that's the most important thing. People want to know about you.
Yeah. I think for me, I was a single mom at birth, and knowing that when I needed help, I didn't understand where to turn. And being middle-class white woman, I also didn't think I had the opportunity to turn for help. I always had this vision, this mindset that I didn't qualify for support. And I think a lot of people think that, but support looks so different in every category. And I realized very quickly that there's so many people out there that need help, whether it's in the mental health space, housing, community needs, how to help raise your child, where to get support with just relationships and that communication about raising your child and some of that type of stuff. So I knew right away that I just found a passion for it right away from my own experiences, and I was drawn in immediately.
That's amazing. And I grew up with a single mother household as well. And my mother is a rock and a superstar. So I think it helps build that resilience that some people just will never understand. The amazing opportunity as much as it's unfortunate, but it gives you the strength to endure, truly.
Absolutely.
So you started your career in early intervention for children with developmental disabilities. How did that experience shape your leadership today? Because I think it really probably adjusted how you do things, right?
Absolutely. I definitely learned how to listen. When you are dealing with families who have just had a child and I dealt with children 0 to 3. So you just gone through 9 months of pregnancy and you have a child that has now come to you with a disability. And that's a really hard thing for some families to accept. So not only are you learning how to become a parent, you're learning how to adapt to a child with disabilities. So I really learned to just be a really good listener and sometimes just have a space for them to have emotion and express how they're feeling. And that's when you're able to teach. You have to build that trusting relationship from minute one. So I realized it didn't matter what I had to say until I took the time to listen to what they needed to say. And sometimes it just takes a minute, and sometimes it takes a month, whatever it takes to get a family to connect and realize you're just there to support their path. I'm not trying to change it. I'm just supporting it.
Yeah, I think that's well said. And I mean, that with all things, right? Timing is of the essence, but at the same time, you can't rush a process at the end of the day, right? And you have to be able to live within that process, especially when somebody's going through such a life-changing situation like that and trying to navigate those difficult times. Now, obviously, you're the CEO of Community Partners of South Florida. I'd love to learn a little bit about what Community Partners is up to and how you're supporting them for the last, say, 2 decades now in their success.
Absolutely. So Community Partners really focuses on changing the odds for children and family facing adversity. So again, right up my alley. Mm-hmm. I started here doing the injury prevention programs, car seats, bike helmets, all of that. Started as a program director and have worked my way up. What we do is we focus on the whole family as a unit. People don't have problems in one space. If you don't have food on the table because you can't pay your bills, your children are suffering. If you can't make your rent, the whole family is feeling that as well. So mental health doesn't live in a silo. Housing issues don't live in a silo. And how you interact as parents and children in the community does not live in a silo. So we have a comprehensive, holistic approach that once you walk in the door, we are here to support you in all those areas, housing, health, and community. And so when you walk in, our goal is to walk side by side with you, listen, learn, and see how we can approach all of your needs. And when you're done with your time with us, that your path is a different outcome, something that you want.
That's amazing. So it's the journey, right? And I think that's something that
journey.
Everybody forgets is it's a journey. Life is a journey. We are not here for 10 minutes, right? We're here for a while. So it's not necessarily about instantaneous gratification. Obviously, there's things that we hope we can change, whether it be health, housing, or community items. But when these people do come to you, when these family units come, where do they start? Where does that all come in? Because obviously there's an intake and there's conversations that are had. Where does that person find that assistance, whether it be a single person or a family unit coming to look for help, community partners?
We actually get people from everywhere. So we serve about 8,000 families a year. We serve all of Palm Beach County. We serve people from the lowest income to the highest income. We serve people with insurance and without insurance. So a lot of times families come to us when they first have children and they're looking for childcare education. Or that's one avenue, is when children are born, they enter into what's called the Healthy Beginning System, and they enter through one of our Healthy Beginning programs, Bridges, which is a community-based location, like an actual location in communities. There's 10 of them. They're in Lake Worth, West Palm, the Glades, Riviera Beach, and Boynton Beach. And these community hubs are places that parents can go and learn about how to connect with your school, how to find out about childcare resources and scholarships, how to understand your child better, child development and what's going on. It's almost like to stay one step ahead of your child as they're growing, how to be a better parent. That's one way people come in. Some people come in because they need therapy. And we provide adult and child therapy at no cost, as I mentioned. Sometimes we're one of the only providers in Palm Beach County that provides psychiatric services, which are very expensive. We provide them at no cost. Again, we have funders that cover these costs and cover the medication as well. And then we have people that just come in because they want to be a first-time home buyer, and we have a whole path to home ownership. So it's interesting. They come in from all different ways, but basically what they do is they come into a central intake. They have an interview, basically, or a small conversation, and we have people kind of listening, taking that information in, and then they're passed into the next step. We think you would really get support from our wraparound case management, and they're able to help you get some sustainable things. We see you need to get your, we got to get you sustained. Maybe you're a little behind on your light bill. We have case managers can help connect you to resources in that area. Once we get people where they're sustained, then they're ready to start focusing on their needs. You can't help anyone until they're sustained. If you're not,
they're drowning, they can't ask for help because they have water in their mouth, right? So that doesn't work.
Exactly. It's the hierarchy of needs. We've got to take care of the initial needs before we can even discuss anything else. So no matter how they come in, and it can be a self-referral, it could be a referral from an organization. They come in, we get them, we connect them with the right programs. But what's really great is once they start with a program, our whole goal is to cross-refer. So if you were to come in and you meet me, I get to know you, I learn more that now maybe you came in for therapy, and I learn that you have children and you need a little support with your children. I'm going to connect you to one of our Bridges programs, or possibly you need a car seat. I'm going to connect you to our injury prevention program. Oh, you're looking at buying a home. I'm going to get you in one of our programs, so maybe you can get some subsidies and learn how to get into a first-time home buyer program. We don't do it where it's like, oh, you need this and you need this. No, we are just listening and saying, we have these opportunities. Are you interested? And we'll connect you. One of the biggest issues are the barriers that people face when they're trying to get help. I can tell you as a single mom, I remember that. And then it's daunting, and you just shut down and you don't want to go any further. Our goal is to reduce and remove barriers so people can get to their goals.
That's amazing. And I think that's different than some of the other organizations that are out there, right? That you come in and they don't necessarily maybe listen to you as well as, you guys are doing that, right? Helping, when you say bridges, I love bridge the gap, right? Bridge the conversation, right? I love the triple, quadruple entendre here we can use bridges with, and help them be successful. And I think it's amazing that you're not just looking at it from a home ownership standpoint, financial education, affordable rent, mortgage lending. I mean, these are things that are such a hot topic right now in the community because workforce housing, affordable housing has been such a difficult case. And I can only imagine between that, you said light bills, insurance. I mean, these are things that people are just struggling with because the costs have just become, they're just outpacing everything in our current society, especially in Palm Beach. I mean, Palm Beach, we look at a decade ago compared to where we are now, what a different world we're in, right? And it just keeps going, which is amazing. But also it's hurting some of our population. And I guess, when you guys are looking at, working on these services, what do you feel is the most used service currently that people are working on? Because I think the listeners want to know, because at some point I'm sure they're going to ask, how do we get involved? All that fun stuff. But what are some of the services that are really maybe not taking the biggest heat, but that need the most assistance right now? There are people out there listening to this and wanting.
I would say our mental health programs. As I said, we support children and adults. Again, that holistic approach. If children have mental health issues, it doesn't live in a vacuum, and that means something's going on in the home sometimes. So we want to make sure we're creating a healthy environment for all. Mental well-being is the goal. We work in many of the school districts, or in the school district in many of the schools. And what is so interesting to me and sad and amazing all in one is we have therapists in elementary schools. We are seeing issues in children as young as first grade, second grade. And as you just said, this world has changed so much. They have so much pressure as young as kindergarten, first grade, and we see children having social media experience that young as well. And so they're influenced by so many things. So where the need we're seeing the most is in our mental health space. We want to make sure that families have that well-being across the way, that everyone is getting the support they need. Because when you think about a family unit, it's your identity. Think back. When I talked about my experience being a single mom, your first thought, you were thinking about your mom. That's your identity. And we want every child to grow up happy, healthy, and safe. That's it, right? We want that identity to be positive, strong, and healthy. So that's where we see a lot of that need is coming in.
I wish that maybe social media, these pressures, even like testing. I know I speak to my young kids. I have 3 boys under 10. We talk about all the time, fast testing and other testing within the school system. You'd be surprised, and people would be surprised how stressful that is on the kids nowadays, building relationships. Where society was bicycles and streetlights, and now it's cell phones and sitting in your room and watching WhatsApp and all the other devices that all these kids are on now.
Devices and socialization is how we were able to express ourselves. And so children don't get an opportunity to express themselves. So they are bottling it up, and it doesn't feel normal to express themselves. And that's why we're seeing such a high incidence of anxiousness and fear and this body image issue, because they don't know how to express themselves.
As society continues to change with AI and all these other new infrastructures and devices that are coming out, things aren't going to get easier for these kids. So what are some things that people could do to kind of give back, to help, to be a part of the solution ultimately? Because it does take a community. I firmly believe.
Yes. So we're always looking for volunteers. As I mentioned, with 8,000 families we serve throughout Palm Beach County. Oftentimes we're looking for support in our child programs, where we're looking just to help build resources, meaning we may have a diaper drive and we're looking for people to kind of help, provide diapers, but be a part of the community that's standing there collecting items and bringing it to the organization. We have a lot of properties because, again, we work in the housing space. June 5th, we are hosting a beautification project where we're asking people to come help bring their tools, resources. We have someone bringing a lawnmower. Come help us clean up the properties so people have dignified homes. Everyone deserves that, a dignified home. Some of our campuses are what's called supportive housing, and supportive housing is typically people who are low income or unemployed, and they have a mental health diagnosis. So they're typically live on SSI, they live on Social Security. And some of our residents have been there 20, 30 years. And so these properties are HUD funded, and HUD funding does not cover the cost of doing business and maintaining these properties. And so they start to need a little support. And so we, once a year, try to do beautification projects because we want our residents to feel like they live in the most beautiful place and they receive the most respect they deserve, like any other human. So we're always doing items like that, beautification, or around the holidays, we ask people to come in and help pack laundry baskets full of items for Thanksgiving and wrap gifts for children and run toy drives. So it all depends on the season. In the summer, we do stuff for schools, for our kids for back to school. So depending on the season, there's some type of volunteer activity and opportunity.
Yeah, that's amazing. So there's always something for somebody to get involved with. Which I think is really big because, again, Palm Beach County is very diverse. There's many municipalities, cultures, community needs. And, I'm sure just like mental health, each community is facing its different challenges, whether it be in Pahokee, Belglade, Lake Worth, Riviera Beach, or in all those different areas. How have you seen as Palm Beach continues to grow, as we'll call it, money continues to move to Palm Beach County, how are you seeing those communities affected? And, what solutions is the county and maybe the municipalities working towards with you guys to try and solve those? Because like you said, housing is an issue, mental health is an issue, but is the county providing anything or assisting in any way?
I do commend our county. Our county is an incredible team of professionals that is trying to stay one step ahead. Unfortunately, as you said, there's only so much funding and we cannot keep ahead of the change. There's a lot of money moving in, and that money is bringing a lot of people in. We can't keep up. As anyone knows who lives in the Western communities from Wellington up, go east. Try to drive east, and you can't get down the road. What used to take 5 minutes is now 30 minutes. Our infrastructure cannot hold the number of people we have. So that's just an example of how the county is trying to keep up with the change in our economic landscape, but they can't, and they're doing the best they can. But they are they're very strong partners to all the nonprofits, especially in the housing space. Absolutely, they are part of the solution. They are trying to provide more funding support through state housing initiative program dollars and other state funding and HUD funding that comes down and getting it out to us as quick as possible. And that's whether, for example, we are one of the nonprofit developers, which means we are developing affordable housing. But you just it takes 5 to 6 years to complete a project. That's just the truth of the matter. And, but they're trying to get the money out as quickly as they can, support it. We have the bond, which was designed to help get funding in to support more affordable housing across the county. So our commissioners are definitely on board. They have also approved mindset of a program, and that mindset, like, let's start talking about tiny homes. We can get
container homes,
more density.
Homes. Yeah.
Right. Let's get more density in these lots instead of just single family homes. So there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of thought leadership within our county, and also the whole mindset of moving people out of poverty. And that starts with housing, and also addressing the mental health needs. So I do commend our county. They're great partners. It's just we can't keep up with the need. Today, there was a luncheon. It was called the Housing Heroes Luncheon, and it brings together all the different entities, for-profit, nonprofit developers, and government, and even some of our other sectors. And we were looking at the amount of housing that's been developed and affordable. And so let me just share what affordable housing is. Affordable housing is considered 60% of the average median income and below. Workforce housing is from 60 to 140% of the average median income. So when you look at that, that gives you an idea of what we're talking, affordable versus workforce. Right now, and our numbers are a bit skewed in Palm Beach County, but right now, the average family of four is about 104% of the average median income. That's our middle in Palm Beach County right now. So we were looking at the numbers of homes that have been provided, or units, not homes, units that have been provided. And because, as I said, it takes so many years to get these projects done. And then last year, with increased property taxes, cost, the materials cost has increased, just increased cost overall. The production has slowed down a little bit. We only produced 100 units last year throughout the county, but over the last 3 years total, we have produced a little over 1,100 units of affordable housing.
Wow.
Not enough,
Not
but
enough.
at least
So
we're
amazing.
working on it. It's amazing and not enough. We can do better. We can do better. So we're all in it together. We're all working at it from different levels. We have a lot of for-profit developers that are now working in the space of affordable housing, and we are so thankful because the nonprofit developers can only do 40 units at a time. We're not making a big enough dent. We need big numbers. We need more density to be able to support our average 104 average median income. That's workforce, right? That's your average person. And we need more housing. A third of your paycheck should go to housing. That's it. Each month, a third of what you bring home should be what goes to your housing cost. I can promise you the majority of the listeners right now listening, it is much higher than that.
My gosh, yeah.
Right?
That rent?
It's right.
It's when I found out how much, and there's a high rise in downtown. I won't call them out because I don't want to embarrass them, but there's some high rises downtown that I saw how much a studio apartment was going for at $5,500 for a studio apartment. And I lived in New York, and I love West Palm, but we're not New York yet. But the prices are New York tri-borough pricing, and it's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable for the people that are here, the families that are trying to grow. The average list price has gone up by hundreds of thousands of dollars in the last few years. Like you said, I've worked for some of the major home builders, and they've done what they can. But again, your cost per square foot of how much it is to just build something, because you're building block, because you're building to a specific standard, which we have to build to because that's the right thing to do. Density. That's the secret word that I think the county is finally starting to figure out.
Yes.
There's great bills, SB 686. It's an agricultural enclave bill that's through the House. It becomes a bill July 1st. That's going to help with density and helping developers move along agricultural properties so there can be developments. There are things out there that are happening. But like you said, it's today's problem. It's not 5 years. 5 years from now, that problem will be multiplied by 10x because the solutions haven't been found just yet. And I love what you said about tiny homes. I know Riviera Beach specifically has been looking at some tiny home or smaller container home style homes. And I think the theme is we just need it now. We need to stop making excuses and finding solutions because community partnerships, it's a major theme, obviously, in your work. And help us understand what the community partnerships, explain to the viewers why it's so important, because I think they misunderstand. They just think there's a river of money that flows, right? And that's just not the case. So without these partners, you can't be as successful and help get these units in the ground to help people, or have the staff to create the mental health assistance, or to be able to help with the lending situations, right? So are there any specific community partners you're working with, and you don't have to name them, but if you'd like to, that are really helping you guys solve problems or there are some that you're looking for that you're hoping that can help solve some problems for you?
Right. Oh, absolutely. The partners. And that is one thing that is strong in Palm Beach County is the relationships. And we know we have to work together. Many of the nonprofits that are developers have come together and created a cohort. And that makes us stronger instead of each of us coming as a one, right? If we're coming just one at a time, our voice is small and not strong. An entire cohort was created of the 13 developers, and now we are standing as a stronger voice. We're able to go to the commission meetings and say, together, this is what we're saying we need to be able to move forward. So right there, you're pulling 13 different nonprofits that are somewhat competing against for the same funds are now saying we can do more together than keep fighting each other. And so that's kind of the mindset through all the different areas of needs that we're seeing is collaboration. The need is greater than any one of our organizations. And what is so nice is even in like mental health, when our wait list gets really long, we'll cut it off and start sending them to one of our partners and say, hey, we're at full capacity right now. Can you take people? We'll start referring them to you. We're all part of the same system with the same goal. And I think that's a new trend since COVID. The needs have increased tremendously, and partners are not sitting here saying, well, we're going to work in this space, you work in this, and we're going to compete. We have to collaborate to support our community's well-being.
Yeah, well, you're not at odds, right? You guys are all moving for the same exact thing. Sure, you may have different EIN numbers, different business names, but ultimately, and I think that's great you said since COVID, because I think COVID really changed that mindset that now it's a collaborative effort. Just because you can't take something on doesn't mean you guys failed. It means that you have other opportunities, other levers, right, that you can pull so that success can come to that person, no matter who they are, no matter how busy you are. And I commend you guys, really commend you guys for doing that, because I think it gets said that wasn't probably something that was happening as much before. And now that you're seeing it, I'm sure you're seeing, I'd like to say tremendous help, but again, it's help, right? And help is a good place to start. 1% of everyday better is better than no percent better at all, right?
Most definitely. And the other part of that story is, especially we've seen since COVID, funding sources are reducing. We're all seeing cuts in funding. Mm-hmm. We've seen tremendous cuts in funding in some of our housing and urban development or HUD funding. We've seen programs just disappear. Some supportive housing programs just disappeared. And what happens then? People are back on the streets. So then everyone's trying to pick up these families and what can we do? Do you have any room in your program? And it's so unfortunate. So, someone had said to me, like, we're going to have a crisis. I'm like, no, we're in the crisis. The crisis is now, and it's not going away. So the organizations, we work together, we're getting more creative. How do we collaborate? How do we work and ensure that our communities have what we need? But the nonprofits, for our example, we're 40 years old this year. We're so proud of that. But I want to make sure we're here another 40 years. That is my goal, is the legacy of this organization, to ensure that the work we're deciding and doing right now, that the 8,000 families today, maybe next year it's 10. I want to ensure that keeps moving forward. So relationships with funders, making sure we're partnering in the community, leveraging every dollar we bring in to sustain programs, build programs, and make sure our clients have what they need. It's becoming more difficult than it ever has been for nonprofits. And what's interesting is nonprofits probably are the safest place for people to invest their money, because we have more audits than any other business out there. Like, we have everyone looking at our practices and how we spend our money, and we have so many people that we report to. It's almost foolproof at this point. So we're really proud of that. So it's an interesting time in general. It's very challenging, but exciting.
Yeah. And I can imagine it is exciting, because again, you guys are getting the help that's needed. Finally, you're finally getting to a place where you can work and see the success. So community partnerships seems to be a theme in your work, obviously, right? Now, why are they so important today versus 10, 20 years ago? I know we had talked about helping others get together and supplying each other with different opportunities, whether it be for housing and different types of assistance. But what does the general public not know that you guys know that maybe would help them understand a little bit better about why their support, whether it be supporting monetarily, supporting voluntarily, or pushing for the county or the state to provide more assistance? Why is that so more important today than it was a decade ago?
Well, the biggest thing is reduction in funding. We have seen federal, state, and local cuts. That is just the norm. So as cuts are happening, there is a need to partner and think more strategically on how we can work together to meet the same goals. We become closer to figure out what's best for the community. The other thing is, many funders have moved into a mindset of collaboration, because their pot of money is only so big, and how do we make the biggest bang for our buck? So that's a big reason we've seen that need has changed to more of a partnership.
Yeah.
But I think it's just people know that we're going to get more done.
Yeah. And I think they see everyone working together, and they see it as more collaborative opportunity. And you can check out all that information. It is not hidden. The government does not allow nonprofits to be quiet about what they do with their money. If you're supporting local is the money is going to a local assistance, right? You're helping direct Palm Beach County families. today,
Mhm.
right now, if you're assisting. And I think that's something that, when you look at a larger nonprofits, I get some of the larger ones, to name nameless, that may be not doing exactly what some people may hope they're doing, but you guys are community partners. That's quite literally the whole point of what you're doing, is to partner with everyone in the community. So money, most of it is going to help people be successful on their journey. And without assistance and all these other things, they don't have what they need. So be the solution. Don't question it. Be a part of it. And if you are going to question it, show up, right? Show up and be a part of the June 5th. See who you're affecting and who you're helping. What keeps the hope in the community when people are starting to feel overwhelmed? How are you guys kind of reframing that mindset to the community?
Our whole goal is thriving communities and strong residents. I think where we see hope, it's on a singular individual space, person by person. When we have a single mom who is living 200% below the poverty level, um, receives support in classes and help through our team, and is now uh, no longer below the poverty level and a first time homeowner. And she's able to share her story, and she's creating generational wealth. And she's sharing it not just with us, which obviously gives us hope to continue the work, but she's sharing it with her friends. And so I think that communication from person to person to person is what gives hope. When one person, you put someone in the community that had a great success story and they're so proud of themselves, everything comes down to self-pride, right? When you do well and you're proud of what you did, you're going to talk about it. And so when you put those seeds in the community, it pulls the community up, and you just keep going and going and going. And I think that's where we're seeing hope in these really unhopeful times, is one person can change an entire community.
And I love the word you use, is pride. That is the word, right? Pride to be an American, pride to be a Floridian, pride to be a Palm Beach Countyan, proud to just be here. Improbable, but we are here. So we're here for a reason. The journey may not be in front of us today that we understand, but the opportunity to figure out that journey is hope. Hope is the journey that we all use to keep moving. And looking ahead, what's your vision for Community Partners of South Florida? What do you see in the next, 3, 5, and 10 years?
So 3, 5, 10 years. One is a little bit of expansion. We're learning every single day as we're strengthening family units where some of the gaps are. So when I say expansion, I don't necessarily mean getting bigger. I just mean getting better, a little bit more succinct in what families need. Families are not the same as what they looked like 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years, and even 10. So we're very busy trying to adapt to what a family strengthening program needs right now. So in 3 to 5 years, I hope we've really have caught up to that. So that's number one. Number two is that we are at a point of sustainability where we are able to continue to build and create affordable housing. It's very hard as a nonprofit because we do not have large reserves where we have enough money to cover those pre-development dollars and things such as that. So it's a balance. So I would love to be at a point where I have our organization has enough funds in the bank where we have enough money to invest in development, because then we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. We're not getting people to home ownership. We're actually putting them in the home. It's the alpha omega, right? From beginning to end. It's such the beautiful dream. So those are some of our goals. And also our biggest goal is we'd love to see a reduction in our people we're serving, because that means the issues are getting better. The best case for a nonprofit is if we were doing everything right, we'd put ourselves out of business, because that means we've tackled all the problems. But our goal is just to be refine and be the best community partner we can be, the best service provider we can be, and we are supporting our communities the way they need.
Yeah, and I think if everyone watching this could appreciate, and may just because I'm here speaking with her, but if you can appreciate the love she has for what she's doing. Your face lights up when you talk about it. So that's someone who's truly passionate about serving her community. That is not something you get from every person in an executive position. And I know I've dealt with a lot of them. So to have somebody who's that articulate, who understands the community, who's worked internationally. And because we talked a little bit at working in Qatar and all the other areas you've been in, you've come back here and taken that wealth of knowledge and you're applying it to a county that's growing so swiftly. And that needs the help. I mean, everybody should look to you and say, wow, there is hope and there is opportunity because of the pride that you have in what you're doing in your work.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course. Well, it should be recognized. And I hope people do see that. Listeners, if you do, give us a thumbs up and a comment for Kelly, because I think she's rocking it here. Now, let's talk about how people can get involved. How can they get in contact with Kelly or Kelly's team?
Absolutely. I'd love to share that. So the easiest way is through the website. Our website is CPSFL, for Community Partners of South Florida, cpsfl.org. If you are looking for help, if you need support, housing, mental health, or support for parents and children, there is a button at the top that says submit a referral. It's that easy. You can self-referral. You just put your information in. Within 72 hours, someone will call you. And that starts the journey, and we'll connect you with the different programs. We didn't get in the nitty gritty, but we have 20 different programs. So we'll find where you fit in. And the other promise I will make to everyone is if we can't help you, we will connect you and provide a warm handoff to who can help you. That is very important to me and something I ask of all my teams. So if you need help, submit a referral. If you want to volunteer, go to the donate page, and then there you're able to donate or put in information to become a volunteer. And our team will reach out and connect and learn more about you. I'm always interested to meet with people. Myself and my vice president of advancement, we're out in the community all the time, along with some of my other officers. Let us tell you more about what we do. Let us see where we can connect and partner. Join us and watch some of the work we're doing and the impact we're creating in your community. We're always obviously looking for donor relations, but that starts with getting to create a relationship. I believe that people should know and trust who they're donating to, and I'm happy to build a relationship with any of them. So donate, volunteer, support, reach out, get help. We're here to be your community partner.
And that's wonderfully said. And guys, I can't stress this enough, listeners, is that she's on here today because she wants to help. So if you're hearing this, you're listening to this, whether it's because you want to help, be the help for somebody, or you need the help from somebody, this is what leadership looks like. It's stepping forward, taking accountability, and working on finding solutions. Again, there aren't as many partners out there in the world who can say that they're doing things like this. So push your trust in somebody who has done it for 2 decades and knows what's going on in the community, specifically targeting Palm Beach County. Now, Kelly, if you could ask one person one question, whether they be dead or alive, that one question and one person, who would it be and what would you ask them?
Oh, wow. You say that's not hard, but that's so hard. Wow. One person, dead or alive. I think for me, it would be my dad, who is not with us anymore. And I would ask him if he was proud of what I'm doing. I
don't think you need to ask that question. I'm sure he is, because the work that you're doing is truly, truly awesome. And I can't understate it. I mean, again, everybody, not to put any, I was a police officer for a few years. I've been in emergency services. I've worked with different community partners in different states, Virginia, New York, New Jersey. And I don't run across many people who glow and get so excited to help people like Kelly has today. So I hope that everyone sees this and thinks that they know that they're in good hands with Kelly and her team, because they are making a difference. And that's what matters. Kelly, I really appreciate you coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope to work with you guys very near in the future.
Excellent. Thank you, Rudy. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the opportunity to share. And I know all of us together, we can do better and we can do more. Well, so thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks.